Greetings, fellow beings, thoughtful thinkers, and proud culturians on the rise with nearly 17,000 strong-minded wonders rising up daily. Thank you. You are indeed truly appreciated, and today we are strapping ourselves in the wildest ride vehicle ever created, the Risk Machine. And I don't have to tell you that entertainment companies here in the US boarded this ride with no concern for safety or risk. And when mounting up for war, one should at least know what you're fighting for, right? You should know what the risks are, right? Well, it seems the turbulent landscape of corporate culture wars is starting to accumulate stacks of victims, and a great many combatants are looking to exit the battlefield. Get your popcorn, folks, because we are only in the first minute of the Saving Private Ryan film, and there are 8.5 more minutes of obliteration headed towards the corporate doorsteps. Grant, cue the approved clip. Here we go. Now, when Eurasia Group president Ian Bremmer says that the culture wars are one of the biggest risks of the year, you better believe it's time to pay attention. And in a recent Axios article that's been actually making the rounds of late, that's essentially a direct quote. And I mean, we're talking about an arena where businesses are not just fighting for profits, but duking it out over societal values, political stances, and, well, just about everything else. It's absolutely a mess, folks, and a very costly one at that. One that should never have happened, and one that should never be repeated or engaged in ever again. Let's start first with a meeting. Let's rewind a bit to 2019, when the Business Roundtable, something that should never happen, as it could be a sign of collusion, especially in related industries, well, this group got together. It was 200 CEOs in all, and they decided that corporations should do more than just rake in cash and take care of their shareholders. They declared that companies should also be champions of the well-being of their customers, employees, sure, suppliers, maybe, and communities. No way. I mean, those are all noble goals, right? At least if you ignore the, well, wildly collectivist mentality of it all. I mean, that's the fast-track language of the Neo-Marxist nowadays, and also the invitation for a competent administration to order immediate antitrust investigations, which should have been done. Now, fast forward to today. Not only does it feel like they opened Pandora's box, it looks like they are not enjoying the effects, and at least not the effects that it's had on their businesses, as well as what it's done to their customers. They're imploding. They're taking those customers and those employees and those communities and their morality with it. Not that that would be much today, at least about morality in the first place, especially with most of these Fortune 500 companies, but let's set that aside. You don't have to fast forward all that much to get to the beginning of this effort and what its outcomes have been. They all found themselves in the midst of a global pandemic, which we all suffered through, racial reckonings, oh yeah, summer of love, legal shifts like the shifting of Roe v. Wade and all the controversy that created, and of course all the wars that are now scattered across the globe when that didn't happen the previous 4 years. We had a very quiet and peaceful period of time. Now, that particular commitment, their commitment, is facing the, well, an ultimate challenge. Ultimatum challenge? I don't know. They're trying to survive. In their words, there is now no safe space. There's no safe corner. There's no tried and true customer base anymore. You've scattered them to the wind. You got courts, elected officials, and activists now throwing punches back at all these corporate initiatives that they don't agree with. And to be fair, most of the general populace doesn't agree with either. Sorry. And people especially don't like the ones that are designed to tell them what they can say, think, what they can express in any way, what they can believe, worse yet, trying to control everything that they do. I mean, it's an existential fight right now for their very corporate lives, but with far more legal jargon attached. And I think we're going to get litigious in the next few years, and not to the company's benefit. And we have no shortage of victims here. And let me hit you with some examples, because there's a lot of them. You remember Governor Ron DeSantis taking on Disney. Remember that? Still going on. They tangled over the parental rights and education bill that certainly didn't go Disney's way, and now they have lost their special district and all the tax advantages that came along with it. And in the long run, that's going to be worth hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars. And then there were 7 attorneys generals who from various states got together and threw a curveball at Target during their exclusionary event, Pride Month, accusing them of violating child protection laws. Based on what was presented and all that evidence, Target realized they were on the losing side of those arguments. And of course, hold on to your hats, folks, because Governor Goodhair of California, that would be Gavin Newsom, tried to ban Walgreens over medications. But hey, that's not surprising. California is looking a lot like the Hunger Games these days. And it'll only get worse as all the rich folks take their wealth and flee that state. The illegal maneuver recently by California is the exit tax, and that is going to quickly find its way to a federal court. And let's just say the writing is on the wall for that one. This gives us a big dilemma, the ESG strategy dilemma. And as I'm sure you've noticed, with all the political pressure, companies are starting to tap the brakes on their environmental, social, and governance strategies. ESG, not very popular. And not only are there many of these practices wildly illegal, they're literally destroying their company's performance and their fiduciary duties to their shareholders. So now they're tiptoeing around the societal and geopolitical matters, opting for some hushed internal messages that are also equally illegal, rather than making some bold political statements or maybe a public apology. I guess you could liken this to tiptoeing through or sneaking through a minefield without making everything around you go boom, and most especially you. The problem is now when you wrong an employee that either agrees or disagrees with you, they will make it go boom. You can't stop it. There's no tiptoeing. And that's a huge problem. And believe it or not, you invited it in the door. And here's the kicker, my friends. Companies operating in both blue and red states, which is basically all of the Fortune 500 folks, it's every one of those guys, okay? They're facing that dilemma in a billion different ways. They're caught between a rock and a hard place that they willingly put themselves between. And there are questions here. Do they comply with laws that clash with their neo-Marxist values? And of course, that would risk them getting canceled by, the ever so tolerant destroy capitalism crowd. Or do they exit certain states, certain markets, and further destroy shareholder value? Decisions. And of course, with GDP of some states rivaling some countries, these choices are pricey, but truly, how long will California be the 7th or 8th largest economy in the world, or let alone New York? If they keep giving things away for free, forcing wealth to leave, forcing businesses to leave, and letting crime go unchecked, I don't think they're going to last in positions of power for very much longer. So, again, let's bring this one home. The glee and nonchalance of diving headfirst into the culture war has really wrecked the majority of companies that engaged in that practice, especially in entertainment. We talk about it all the time. And it's clear that the culture wars are no longer just on Twitter. They're not debates anymore. They're impacting the very foundations of businesses, big and small. Big businesses and the overpowered tech businesses are really starting to hurt. And the choices that companies make today will echo throughout their halls of power and, well, the pockets of consumers, especially if you're a business that needs the public to survive. Honestly, if you're a business, you should be listening to the silent majority of your consumers, especially since most people are rediscovering a world where they need less and less of what you provide. Believe it or not, once people boycott you on one front, then they start to realize that they didn't ever need you in the first place. They start asking themselves, just what else do you provide that, well, they could do without, don't need? I mean, just ask AB InBev about that. They thought it was just Bud Light, and it wasn't. But now, my part of the conversation is at an end. It's now your turn. What are your thoughts on this ever-thinning corporate tightrope walk? Let me know everything you think about this down in the comments section below, and hopefully we can have an incredible conversation. Probably end up talking with many people about this issue. Of course, as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya!